And here we are on Atlantis Spaceship, our map that GuMiho has chosen for his third and possibly final game if he doesn't win it. And here he is in the red representing the team FXO. It is, as I said earlier, GuMiho. And up at the top of the map in the blue from the team OGS, on the verge of possibly eliminating his opponent from the entire tournament. It is none other than, oh, did they switch colors again?
Yes.
It is SuperNoVa. Okay, good. So I did get it right then.
Yes, you're good to go. They are switching colors as much as possible.
Made me wonder. Made me doubt myself.
Oh, no. I think that's just your normal insecurities and the fact that
What?
you interrupted me when we were introducing the games, as it was clearly my time. So, hey.
You know what? There's a pretty good chance that there's going to be a proxy on this game
That's
as well.
true.
That SCV scouting a little bit early. That is a scout. That is one of the earliest SCV scouts I've ever seen.
Very much so. We'll see.
It's a big map, but it's not that big.
It is a really long walk distance there. I have to give a shout out on Twitter as well. Charles Altman says that he is 40 and he hasn't gamed for 8 years, but we have hooked him into watching SC2 and loving it. He can't always find it, though, he says. And he says he also had to learn how to tweet to tell us that. So big shout out to you, Charles. Thank you very much for tuning in.
It is the day of Marauder rushes. Apparently, this is, we'll see if that's what this is. If GuMiho if SuperNoVa rather puts down a gas.
And he has.
And he has. There's a gas. So it looks like we might see another Marauder rush. Our third. That means a full 50% of the TVTs we saw today were Marauder rushes. So, all right. Well, we'll see if SuperNoVa can win with that series or that strategy. 2 games out of 3 here.
Well, let's see. He's, this isn't a terrible choice, though. He's got a couple of games to give in case this doesn't work work for him. Well, go ahead.
Here's the thing, though, is that GuMiho's going to see this. He's going to scout it immediately, I think.
Yeah.
I don't see this working again, second time in a row for, or not second time in a row, but second time for SuperNoVa.
Well, we'll see. Oh, wow. Look at that. SuperNoVa actually adding in the second gas already. And wants to make sure he built that up very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Does have a tech lab being constructed back at his barracks. Marine pops out. What is GuMiho going to do in response, though? There's the real question. And there is a gas coming up, albeit quite a bit later.
All GuMiho actually needs to do is just throw down a bunker right now. That would probably be the best thing. And GuMiho's actually supply block. I wonder if he thinks he's building he is building a supply depot. He's just building it kind of a little bit out of the way there.
Yeah.
I was wondering because he wasn't finishing the wall or anything like that. But no bunker going down for GuMiho. He's just going to try to defend it with the units that he has. He's like, oh, Marauder, I'm shocked.
Yeah, that's exactly that expression as well. So he is going to decide to expand out of this. And we'll see what he saves up his gas for. He's got a couple of Marines up at the top, and that's enough to drive away SuperNoVa for now, or at least wait until the second Marauder catches up. We do have another factory coming down, but it's not being proxied along with the barracks, just sitting inside of the main.
Well, the reason that Marauder Rush was so successful in Game 1 was just because GuMiho was teching so hard. He didn't have as many Marines out initially. And so, yeah, a little bit of nice micro from GuMiho.
Yeah, SuperNoVa not as spot on with his control this go-around. As you can see, some of those units are low. The first time he tried this, every single shot he had was perfect. He was picking off with just 4 shots, going after an SCV, completely annihilating it. Not doing the best at that this go-around.
Yeah, well, he was having to pull a few SCVs off the line to defend this, but overall, I think he's going to be able to hold it off. I don't think we're going to see the end of the game right here from GuMiho.
No.
We'll see. I think SuperNoVa might be just waiting for his third Marauder, and then he's going to follow this up with Banshees most likely here, too, just to kind of continue to throw his opponent off.
Yeah, so much gas saved up at the moment. He's not that far down on workers, and, of course, like you mentioned before, some were pulled off the line, so he's actually got more of those mining right now. He's doing an effective job of containing, I suppose, but, given that he really wants to do damage and do it now, he has not achieved that goal.
And he is achieving, keeping a little bit of mining time from GuMiho. He's got 2 SCVs kind of hanging out there.
Yep.
But now he does have enough Marines that he could just kind of stay safe with that. His tech is a little bit later, of course, because his command center went down earlier. Looks like it will be Cloaked Banshees again from SuperNoVa.
Oh, I like this decision. He's going to pick up the barracks, move in. The rest of his resources are going to be allocated back at home, as he does have that first Cloaked Banshee coming up. But now he can make sure that he gets that first shot off with the superior range of the Marauder.
Oh, man, this reminds me of what I used to do in TVP. I used to go 2 racks, and then I would proxy a third and just use it for vision for my Marauders. Those were the days.
Fun. I know.
2010, man.
So really, you just told SuperNoVa this, and he's just using it for his purposes.
Kind of crazy. And, wow, doing a lot of damage to that barracks as well here.
Yeah. As looks like he may be able to pick that off if he really makes a concerted effort here to knock that down.
Yeah.
First Banshee is about ready to pop out now. This barracks has taken a little bit of damage, but buffering it more than anything else. Looks like the repair from the SCVs is going to be enough to keep that barracks alive for a little while. Of course, with the barracks of the air, the forces for SuperNoVa aren't going to get any larger until he moves up with the Banshee, though. Yeah,
nearly losing that barracks there, but now that the tank is out, he will be able to push this back fairly easily. Banshees will be coming soon, though, but the amount of Marines that GuMiho has should be pretty good, I would say.
Yeah, and look at that. There's already that Viking up as well, so yeah, he's going to remain pretty well defended. And let's see here as the Banshee is making its way in. Cloak just about to finish up, and we have Blue Flame being researched for SuperNoVa as well.
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to go for a mech build this time around. Could be.
And plenty of scans available, so he will be able to pick up on those. Actually, just repairing up those SCVs. They will take 3 hits then with the rate of repair, but they will still go down. SuperNoVa's actually killed quite a few workers with this.
Not scanning either. Does he actually not have the energy? Okay, there we go. Now throwing down that scan.
Oh!
And will the Banshee get away? It'll be close.
He does make it away. Very, very nice. And taking a look around, there is still energy left for another scan, though, and it will eventually die.
There we go. Okay, so GuMiho more or less stabilizes. He lost a couple SCVs, lost quite a bit of mining time, but he does have 2 command centers done already.
Yes.
So he's not doing terribly bad right now. He's doing okay.
And let's see here now as we have another barracks coming up because SuperNoVa now relies upon that barracks to build anything else. So if he wants to get any more factories out there or things along those lines, SuperNoVa transferring over some SCVs as well. So he does have that expansion down and seeded before his opponent does, and GuMiho is on less SCVs, so no real economic damage. He effectively transitioned over to an expansion with that.
Yeah, so now it looks like we will get to see a little bit longer game. The uncloaked Banshee from GuMiho, though, not doing a whole lot of damage. Manages to get 4 SCVs, so that's not too bad at all. And SuperNoVa does have a little bit of a supply lead, not a whole lot to speak of right now. In fact, as it jumps to like 3 supply away, it's just moving too fast for me to really make a call on that. I give up. I'm not talking about supply anymore.
All right. Well, that's okay. I will eventually, but... Let's see here, though, as the orbital command's coming up now. We have 33 workers to 32, as GuMiho has been able to catch up because the extended build time of the orbital command allowed him to pump out a couple additional SCVs, and he has his next base pretty well saturated. Oh, Banshee tries to make its way in, immediately gets picked off without doing any more damage.
Yeah, so it looks like GuMiho is going to be going into Marine Tank here, so a very normal TVT build out of GuMiho, whereas
No, they're using, this must be the GSL version. Atlantis Spaceship initially started without this pocket expansion and with a Xel'Naga Tower here in the top left-hand corner. This version of the map, as I saw the Hellion make its way up here, has no Xel'Naga Tower and those pocket minerals. And I think this is the first time that I've seen this particular version of the map. Sorry.
Interesting. All right. Oh, no problem. Yeah, and GuMiho moving into mech as well, going largely just Marine tank, or rather Tank Viking right now, adding in a good amount of Marines as well, so yeah. Oh, SuperNoVa going into mech. They keep switching colors. I actually am getting them messed up here.
That's, yeah, but SuperNoVa, he has the infrastructure. He's going to need to start putting out a bunch of units, and a very weird way to arrive at kind of a normal TVT, but we are getting there eventually. Marine tank versus mech. And looks like GuMiho going to start adding on some more barracks now.
Yeah. And I'm kind of curious to see just how mech dedicated SuperNoVa is going to be. Ooh, nice little snipe there of some of the Marines. Right now just going largely Tank Viking. Not a whole lot of Hellions out yet for SuperNoVa, so we might see something kind of like what we saw in the very, very early days of StarCraft 2 and TVT, where it was only Tank Viking. It's an interesting situation. Didn't make for very, very exciting games, really.
No, not really. Neither did, we talked about landed Viking phase and stuff like that. Now, some of those matches were really fun, but then we kind of got to a phase where everyone was just rushing out Vikings and Hellions, and that got kind of annoying as well. So.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. The Blue Flame Hellions are going to roll back in, pick off one more SCV, and skirt away. Back on GuMiho's side, though, 3 barracks now with the factory producing tanks and a reactored starport. All things looking pretty normal for him.
So what I'm really curious right now is how aggressive both of these players are going to be. You'd have to expect that SuperNoVa is probably going to wait till about that 150 supply mark, maybe even a little bit more here as he takes his third before he goes out to try to do any real significant pushes. That's generally the rule of thumb when you're playing mech, especially in TVT. Whereas GuMiho, as you can see here, is already getting a little bit aggressive. He's been making a lot of tanks here. And I believe, does he have a tank lead? It should be maybe a little bit of a lead here.
Yeah, 5 to 4.
Very little bit of a lead. All right. So SuperNoVa should kind of be able to keep up. In fact, he's making 2 at once now, so he will be able to get that lead back himself as well. But GuMiho may have a little bit of timing to come in and do some damage. We'll have to see how aggressive he decides to be with it.
Nice supply depot wall up at the top, and SuperNoVa not really going to be able to move in and do that much damage. In fact, didn't even pick off a single Marine and lost 2 of his Hellions that were running by there.
Yeah. All right, so the third base on the way now for SuperNoVa. If you play mech, you really do need to get that third base going. If you 2 base on mech is just so ridiculously all in. You basically get 1 attack, and then that's it. The game's over. So, yeah, if you want to play mech in a longer game situation, you need to have that third base relatively quickly, especially because of the gas that you need to support your upgrades and just your units. This particular strategy.
And what is the air war at? It looks like 8 to 6 in favor of SuperNoVa at the moment. He is producing 2 Vikings at a time, but GuMiho was able to keep up pretty nicely. Unfortunately, will lose this if he engages straight up, though. Both players have Ravens. Both players put down point defense drones. There's actually 2 point defense drones down for GuMiho. Now the second one finally does fall for SuperNoVa. Couple of units inside of the main, but the medevac got cleared up very quickly, and these Marauders are going to go down here in just a second. Siege tanks firing from the low ground, though, and they are picking off a few of the forces on the ground.
I really gotta say, I like that Marauder strike force that GuMiho sent in there to pick off a couple missile turrets. Those missile turrets are kind of your lifeline to surviving drops, so to have to rebuild those is going to be kind of a hassle for GuMiho. It's a nice little move there by SuperNoVa, or move by GuMiho rather, against SuperNoVa.
Yeah, SuperNoVa with a questionable move there, as he did move his Raven into range and got it picked off, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's not so good.
No. He's sitting on a third base. GuMiho has started his. Looks like he is actually just adding on the orbital command onto it, so he'll be able to get that up in just a short period of time as well.
Well, pretty strong spot here for GuMiho, but he's going to need to be careful. He's kind of pushing a little bit by holding onto that position. He's sending a lot more reinforcements up there, and for now, he does have the supply lead. But yeah, it was a little bit too tenuous, and GuMiho, I think, doing the right thing and turning around here. SuperNoVa now has a little bit of breathing room. He might be able to get that third base mining.
Well, let's see. Yeah, starting to transfer over the SCVs. Quite a few of them, as a matter of fact, so get that mining up here pretty soon. Taking a look back at GuMiho's side of things, he's going to set down his third base as well, and we'll probably start the SCV transfer here momentarily. So a lot of forces moving out for SuperNoVa around the top. GuMiho moving with most of his forces around the bottom. The advance warning barracks has done its job.
Yep. Good old advance warning barracks, but will it be there in time? Some of the tanks sieging up here.
Yeah. Oh, the Marines have to watch out. They were very clumped up for a while, but the tanks really weren't in position quite yet for GuMiho. However, or for SuperNoVa, but now they are, and they obliterate the bio forces out of GuMiho.
Yeah, GuMiho loses a big chunk of his army, but at the same time, he's macroing really well behind this. His supply jumping up right away again. And, you usually do see that with mech. The supply, of course, does go up a little bit slower just because your units are being, you're making less of them per se, even though they do have a little bit more supply. Oh, man, some huge siege tank hits on that mineral line. Ouch.
Yeah, that's really tough for SuperNoVa to try and deal with. Now, he's bringing in a few more units slowly but surely, but he doesn't have them all grouped up in one spot, so GuMiho may be able to start slowly picking away at these from the top. SuperNoVa going to start moving forward with a few of those tanks. Actually unsieges everything. GuMiho, though, not really in a position to be able to take advantage of that.
Well, we'll see what these guys do. GuMiho is very, very threatening here, and if he can deny this third base for long enough, he's going to be able to just straight out have more stuff than SuperNoVa will. I mean, he'll be able to make another army and come in from the western side for a flank there. Denying this third base is so crucial for GuMiho in this matchup.
And GuMiho's got pretty good control of the air back. Oh, well, actually, let's see. SuperNoVa still ahead in Vikings. I take that back. I apologize. So SuperNoVa will be able to deny that. But a very nice position here for GuMiho. He's denying this third. He's got his own mining. He's going to have to watch out for this Hellion drop that's making its way in, though. Yep.
Does he really have anything to defend against this? I don't know if he does right now. He's going home. And how much damage are these Hellions going to do?
They're not really doing anything yet. It looks like he's more worried about the tank position over at the third. Now finally moves in, but that's exactly when GuMiho shifts his forces back. So honestly, these Blue Flame Hellions didn't do all that much.
Not a whole lot. I mean, the medevac does live, which is nice, but yeah, the Hellions just couldn't be micro because he was worried about what was going on at his third base. But, SuperNoVa has more or less stabilized here. GuMiho's going to try to pull around the other side and maybe do a little bit more damage.
Look how big that supply disparity is, though. That third was denied for so long. I mean, SuperNoVa was essentially working off of a half of a base. So.
Pretty much, yeah. And GuMiho probably going to be thinking about taking a fourth pretty soon. In fact, he did just start that command center now that I look at that production queue. So
yes,
yeah, we'll see if he... I wonder if he's going to put that at his little forward expansion, the mini one, or if he's going to go for the expansion with the high, the Vespin geyser as well.
Yeah, the high yield gas, the one that's sitting inside of that. All right, so he's starting to pick away at the missile torch, which is a nice touch. Gives him some place to start dropping some units in if he decides to. Over on the right-hand side, he's trying to drop. Unfortunately, 2 siege tanks are in position, and this drop not going to do a whole lot. Oh, gets a nice little position at the back. Is going to be able to pick off a couple more SCVs, but not going to be, well, doing more damage than I thought. GuMiho not really worried about this.
Yeah, it gets to be a little bit annoying with that here. And the Vikings just decided to give their lives for the cause, I guess.
GuMiho doing some damage. SuperNoVa sacking a couple units.
Kill. Still a recruit, but all the SCVs, all the other SCVs are going to be really careful around him. You know, they're going to be like,
"You killed a Marauder?
Don't make that guy mad. He killed a Marauder once. He stuck his drill right in his face. It's insane, man. You should have been there."
When all hope seemed lost, this guy stood up.
That's right. Well, he kind of floated up.
Yes.
With jetpacks.
That's true.
Then he drilled a Marauder in the face.
Mild propulsion forward, and then drilled him.
That's right. 5 miles an hour.
SuperNoVa putting down a base down here in the bottom right-hand corner.
Well, that's about the most dangerous place you could put a base, but GuMiho may not decide to scout it.
We'll find out. Outside of any sort of Xel'Naga vision or something like that, you do have to specifically scout that. It's kind of a clever addition to the map. I love this map for so many different reasons, and that's one of them.
This map, the way that it's laid out is, it reminds me a bit of Scrap Station to a certain extent, only if you kind of took Scrap Station and pulled it apart here. Oh, and GuMiho's not ready to fight this, I don't think.
Yeah, but he's just using that as a way to go through the middle of the third, as he's just going to bust his way through. SuperNoVa trying to siege up all his tanks, but is in danger of losing the orbital command. And looks like GuMiho going to be smart, not decide to attack into the siege tank line. Very nice play, though, out of him.
And he also caused the cancel at that base in the lower right, too. Yeah, GuMiho should not engage SuperNoVa's army right now. There is absolutely no reason to do that. He is so far ahead now that he's denied that third yet again. And he can choose to sit there, but, you know, he could just as easily pull back a little bit, try to take a fourth, and make sure that his opponent doesn't get any damage done, like this, for instance.
Right. Medevac's going to be pushed away, and the Blue Flame Hellions are doing some damage. They've got quite a few kills, but GuMiho is going to come back and dispatch that pretty easily. Looks like we have a giant drop queued up, though, for GuMiho. That is most of his bioforces, and he's going to send them out in Medevacs right now.
You know, that's a big risk for GuMiho to take right now. He's got a decent lead. He doesn't really need to do anything really, really crazy like this. There's a lot of turrets out there for SuperNoVa, so I don't know how much damage GuMiho's going to really be able to do with this.
And looks like he's just going to drop right on top of this. Man. Oh, God. Loses one medevac with most of the units inside. A couple of missile turrets are going to fall, but is it enough? Does he think he's going to be able to get the positioning he needs?
Man,
looks like he's trying to drop right on top. Not too many tanks were still sieged up, so not many of those fell, and a lot of the medevacs got cleaned up there.
GuMiho, you know, throwing away a lot of his forces right there. That didn't work out very well at all, unfortunately, for him. The things he's doing right now are things you would see a Terran do in desperation, not, you know, with a big lead. He's doing a decent amount of damage at the main here, but the drop on the siege tanks down at the third, I think, was a terrible idea.
Yeah, that got cleaned up very quickly. GuMiho did end up taking, well, this base off to the left.
No, I hate it when that happens.
Oh, they're just following the mule.
Oh, yep, they're all just following.
Oh,
if you clicked on the mule instead of the mineral patch, he's gonna feel so dumb. Okay,
there he goes. All right.
Yeah, he did fix that. That is one of the most annoying things ever.
I was wondering. I was like looking at that because some players you'll see they'll look at that and then their APM will go to 0 as they take like 3 seconds and they're like, oh my God.
Yeah. So GuMiho still does have a lead despite throwing away a few units here.
Yes.
Yep. And he actually is about to finish +3 vehicle weapons. Just kind of interesting. He's been getting a lot of those as well, not just concentrating exclusively on bio.
Quicker than SuperNoVa is, and SuperNoVa's playing a mech build. So, now, you know, we were hoping for a longer TVT. We got it.
Qualify.
Yes, I think so.
And GuMiho's in a good spot to win this one as well. I mean, unless he makes a pretty serious mistake, he could certainly just kind of overwhelm his opponent in the coming minutes.
Producing those tanks 3 at a time now. SuperNoVa going to make his way off to the left with a bunch of Hellions. There's already some units and a very quick reaction time from GuMiho there, and SuperNoVa's going to get that force cleaned up.
Yep. And looks like SuperNoVa scanning ahead, seeing if it's safe to go through that little depression.
Well, let's see. Yeah, GuMiho pushing up with his forces. SuperNoVa's got a great defensive position sitting back there. Pretty nice tank spread all the way through the back, and we'll see if GuMiho wants to actually move into that. And he's going to once again siege up underneath the main. Gets a couple of his tanks picked away at, though, right away.
Yeah, scanning to get some vision on the high ground, but he's going to need to worry about those Banshees soon. Oh, right now, in fact.
Well, the point defense drone already went down, actually, because SuperNoVa has 2 Ravens. He can be a little liberal with those. Never mind. That's a good way to zone out any sort of air defense. But GuMiho does not have a single Viking. It's just purely for the Marauders that are on the field.
Now, we're getting to the point where we might see SuperNoVa try to push out here a little bit. He wants to take that 4th base, of course, but he's reached about that 150 supply mark, and that's usually when your army is big enough to start getting in those bigger fights. So, you know, the big thing for SuperNoVa right now is that his upgrades are a bit behind. So that's going to be something that he's going to need to keep in mind as well as he decides to kind of take his next couple bases.
Yeah, he certainly still has his work cut out for him. Don't forget, he's supply blocked really badly right now because GuMiho did clear up a lot of supply depots before. There was the one benefit of that big drop.
Yep, that's very true. Has to build a few more of those. And he is adding on Thors as well to try to get back the air advantage, take out the Banshees. Of course, Thors are quite good against Banshees. When they can see them, anyway.
Yes, when they can see them.
Yep.
And let's see here as Hellion's going to get picked away. Actually, everything going to go down. SuperNoVa not going to find anything with that force through the front. GuMiho starting to siege this up. He has all of the rest of his bioforces positioned around the right-hand side, and SuperNoVa's pretty split up. He's got a monster amount of tanks, 27 of those as a matter of fact.
Yeah, no kidding. Just playing ultra, ultra, ultra defensively. And that's kind of what he needs to do right now. I mean, he was getting about to that supply where he could think about moving out. But just the early damage he took at the beginning part of the game kind of makes him have to play this more passive here. He could still certainly win. It's kind of up to GuMiho. He's kind of sitting back and saying, all right, GuMiho, it's your move now. Go ahead and attack me, and we'll see what happens.
Well, let's see how well GuMiho's preparing his infrastructure. He's got a lot of factories down, so he'll be able to reproduce on a ton of units, even taking his opponent's base here in the top left-hand corner of the map. Very, very cute decision.
Not taking that base with the high yield, though. I'm a little bit surprised. It seems like it'd be a pretty safe build, or a place to build a building anyway, build a command center. At least this way he does potentially deny one of SuperNoVa's bases for a little while, but yeah, odd decision to expand right there, especially under the sensor tower range.
And look at this. SuperNoVa actually defending against counterattacks with point defense drones everywhere. So he had multiple Ravens out. He can be pretty liberal with the energy as it'll build back up quickly. That's going to neutralize the Marauders so effectively and allow his units to catch up.
All right, well, this base isn't going to last very long.
No.
It's going to need to lift that pretty soon here.
Yeah, imagine
scan for the siege tanks on the low ground there, and GuMiho continues to put pressure on that. SuperNoVa, though, he's going to be able to find the base that's under the sensor tower range, so
yes,
not exactly a hidden base here for GuMiho.
No, that's going to get cleaned up. Have to be canceled here, and there it is. Now, GuMiho's got most of his forces here and lost a little bit, so he can start to replenish his forces with different units. He did finish up Mobius Reactor for some ghosts as well, so we'll see if that becomes an option here in just a second.
Well, SuperNoVa and GuMiho both have pretty scary-looking armies right now, but in late-game situations, if the upgrades are good, usually Mech has a little bit of an edge. Oh, but the third base is going to die.
Yeah, SuperNoVa is actually pulled way out of position. It looks like the rest of the units are going to fall. Point defense drones go down as well. This base is going to get cleared up. SuperNoVa just charging. He's going to make his way right into GuMiho's base. GuMiho doesn't have a lot left over because he was maxed and all of his forces were out on the field on the opposite side of the map.
It's like the Taldrim Ultra game on steroids now. It's going to be another base trade, but will SuperNoVa come out ahead again?
I don't know. He's going to try and push through. GuMiho bringing back some forces. Oh, actually just rallying those across the map. Looks like with his more mobile force, he's actually killing things a little bit quicker, and he is still ahead by about 30 supply. So he's denied more bases up to this point, but does he have an answer for SuperNoVa's huge force back at his natural?
Here's the big deal right now. GuMiho's making 5 more starports right now. He's desperately trying to get some Vikings out. He knows that he's going to need to be able to kill his opponent's floating buildings and scout with those. So both these guys kind of preparing for that very late game situation. SuperNoVa, though, he's got a decent air force already, so he can just kind of walk around the map and basically just kill everything here.
Yeah, and we'll see if he can actually go with that, as he does have a lot of Banshees still remaining. SuperNoVa finally lifting up the rest of his buildings as he scatters those across the map. He still has not threatened this base down here at the bottom, nor this one over on the left-hand side.
Now, what does GuMiho have for anti-air right now?
GuMiho for anti-air, mostly just Marines. Let's see, he's got Marines. 16 Marines, 2 Ghosts, 2 Vikings, and a Thor.
Okay, so his anti-air is a bit weak, and that's something that SuperNoVa can definitely take an advantage of. He's got a Raven, he's got Banshees, he's got Vikings. He's just basically got kind of more of everything. Now, the thing is, though, is that GuMiho has mining right now, so he's still producing things, whereas we see nothing at all in the production tab from OGS SuperNoVa. He's just got the strong army.
Yeah, and looks like SuperNoVa floating all of his buildings up to the top brain. Unfortunately, those starports are going to be the buildings that burn to the ground. We have 2 nukes coming up for GuMiho as well, so that's going to be his way of starting to fight back against these forces, and we'll see if he can pull just that off.
You know, I feel like SuperNoVa is going through this a little bit too slow right now. He needs to go out there and stop the mining for GuMiho immediately. He needs to kind of freeze the supply that GuMiho is at. Another sensor, or another command building, orbital command. Why did I suddenly forget what that was called? Orbital command goes down.
Yes.
For SuperNoVa, so it's going to be revealed fairly soon if he loses that last one at the top middle part of the map.
Yeah, let's see here now, as is he going to be able to break? Okay, so SuperNoVa is finally coming at this base, and he will be able to take that down here in just a second. And let's take a look around the map now, as that's the rest of GuMiho's forces down at the bottom right. He is not confident enough to go ahead and attack into those quite yet. The factories are starting to split up and move everywhere to buy SuperNoVa a little bit more time.
Yep. And, you know, if he gets that time, he might still be able to win. Like you said, GuMiho a little bit nervous about engaging his army right now. Now, does GuMiho have any ghosts? That's kind of the question. I think
still has 2.
He does. Okay, so does he have the Ghost Academies yet? No, he doesn't. He lost those, so he can't use the nukes, I believe.
Right, yeah, looks like those both went down.
Those won't come into play here.
Unfortunately not, and looks like SuperNoVa has another base revealed. GuMiho immediately starting to dash for that. SuperNoVa, does he know about the base on the left-hand side? Yes, he does. He's going to make his way there next. He's also aware of this one down in the bottom right-hand corner.
Oh, and we might have a clash of armies at this left side base here. It looks like GuMiho wants to maybe force a fight, and if SuperNoVa lands his Vikings, he'll be very disappointed. Okay, he's got the Banshee, so he's okay. He's going to clear out those siege tanks before he decides to engage. This is getting really interesting right now. GuMiho with a bit of a supply lead, but that's only because he has some SCVs, where his opponent really doesn't.
Right. And look at how many Vikings are coming out at a time for GuMiho as well.
That's big.
And SuperNoVa's force is just 110. It's not over anything. He doesn't have any supply structures or orbital commands. It's just 110.
Yep. And the thing is, too, is that SuperNoVa might just simply die to GuMiho finding his bases with all those Vikings as well. He's making 5 Vikings at once right now. I don't think that SuperNoVa can take that army if he lets it go for much longer.
No, I don't think so either. And because that was his big advantage, was that he could zone out the bioforces with the Banshees and the air. He just doesn't have that anymore. GuMiho, I don't know, man.
He does have a Thor, so that is one thing that he's got going for him, is that even if he loses the Vikings, he's got all that as well. And he's also got plenty of tanks. And, oh no, that Thor, though, he's going to lose one potentially. Here, the big siege up from SuperNoVa.
Yes, takes out a couple of units from GuMiho. GuMiho made those Thors very, very low, but didn't kill any of them quite yet. It looks like SuperNoVa thinks he may want to go for it. He's going to start rolling up right now. A couple of point defense drones went down. EMPs actually hitting the Ravens and the Banshees so that they weren't going to be able to cloak up or do anything of the sort. Yeah. SuperNoVa losing a good portion of his mech, but GuMiho lost almost all of his bioforces. Only 2 Marauders, 7 Marines left, but of course he's now sitting on...
Oh, we landed the Vikings! Oh, no, I don't know if that was the best idea.
Well, he knew... Well, maybe he did it because he knew he had already lost the air game, because there were 17 Vikings that were picking off his buildings. So
I don't know if he saw that yet. Okay, he did see it, so... Yeah, GuMiho just kind of going for it, though, but
now we have no detection, and there are 2 Banshees coming up. It looks like GuMiho is going to take game number 3. We wanted a longer TVT, and we got a 41-minute one there.
Careful what you wish for, I guess, but what a crazy, crazy game.